this morning. So we will have an update to credit
I figured it out.
Okay, good. So we are aware of that, Mr. Glazier. So the PSI was prepared. We had some objections to some of the guidelines because of the nature of the file. We did order sentencing memorandums. We did receive those from both the prosecutor and the defense attorney. I also have, let's see, I reviewed this previously, and my judicial attorney was kind enough this morning to review it all again. I did receive the ROA, and also there was a dispute regarding what was placed on the record at the time of the plea.
No, I think we figured that out.
And that was figured out.
Yeah.
So they did screen him for sobriety or for recovery court a couple weeks ago. And for the record, the prosecutor did oppose admission to the recovery court program. We have a full team of members that appear every week for our recovery court meetings. Team meetings. The prosecutor's office almost always appears. Amanda Wagner usually covers that, and she did have her input. Chief Emmerich from the Adrian Police Department, because we had a lack of police officers ever attending our recovery court meetings, he volunteered on his own to become a member of the recovery court program, and he was there. A member of Rhino did appear at that last recovery court meeting, and that's the first time I've seen Rhino, who's supposed to be there every time, appear in over a year. He did oppose it, and that's fine. The prosecutor has the right to oppose it. Rhino has the right to oppose it, but we have factors that we look at when we do screenings, and we did screen him, and he was eligible for recovery court. And so he was accepted into that recovery court program. So I just want to put that on the record. And I respect their reasons for opposing it, and I have no problem with that. And I know Mr. Glazier, you would ask for it. So he was screened and he was approved. Okay. So that leaves us with guidelines. It is 11:20. I have your sentencing memorandums. Do we wish to argue them, or do we wish to rest on our sentencing memorandums?
I would argue very briefly.
Okay. So you were ordered to provide one first, so I'll let you go first.
Yeah, Your Honor, we both agree that the guidelines by the probation officer are inaccurate. She has them at 19 to 38. I think Ms. Muir thinks there's 0 to 17. I think there's 0 to 9. And I'll just go over it real quickly. PRV 6.
And before you, I just want to make clarification. This is on docket number 2321610.
Is that the meth?
Yeah.
Yeah. I was kind of surprised the other 4 guys were done. I thought you always only.
They always do them. So that's the way we do it.
I just wanted the record to be clear.
Yeah,
okay.
I'm just talking about the most serious charge. When you look at the PRVs, Ms. Muir thinks he should get 10 points on number 6, but he shouldn't. He was not on bond for this meth charge. It was the very first charge he had. He got put on bond after the raid, and so there shouldn't be 10 on that.
I did not argue that.
He was on okay, was he on probation?
I argued 10 points on PRV 6 on all the other files, not on the possession of meth file.
Okay.
So I agree to that one being 0.
Oh, so PRV 6, okay.
Is 0 only on the 610 file, but would be 10 on
Hold on,
every.
let me get it, hold on. 610, so PRV 6, we agree remains at 0.
Yes,
Okay,
but not on the other file.
not on the other 2, PRV 6. Well, Ms. Holly scored it at 15 on 1, so would it be 10 on both of the other
Should be
files?
10 on all of them.
Okay, okay, all right, is that okay, Mr. Glazier?
Yeah, that's fine.
Okay,
And then on PRV 7 concurrent, you're saying that should be 10 points, right?
20
20?
on PRV 7.
Okay. Hold on. I think that's probably correct. Right?
should be 20 points on PRV 7 then?
Yeah, I don't, what did I put it at, 0?
You didn't say anything about it.
Yeah, it should be.
Nobody talked about it. He does have 3 concurrent.
Oh, obviously. yeah.
So PRV 7 will remain at 20. Okay, so that then means the PRVs on file number, I should probably call all these files. So hold on a second. So 23-21610 FH, 23-21611 FH, and 24-21736 FH. So we're only discussing at this point the guidelines on the 23-21610 FH, which is the possession of methamphetamine,
Right.
because that is the more serious of the offenses. So are we agreeing that the PRVs will remain 85 points?
No, 22.
Okay, so let's talk about PRV 1 will be 0 because you agreed on that. PRV 2 will be 0 because you agreed on that. PRV 3 is already scored at 0. PRV 4 is 0. PRV 10, PRV 5 should be 2.
Yeah.
PRV 6 will be 0, and PRV 7 will remain 20. So that takes us to 22. Okay, sorry about that.
Yeah, I think we're in agreement.
So we agree
Okay.
on those.
All right, so then we move to the OVs on this file. OV1 is scored at 0. OV2 is where the parties disagree. All right, Mr. Glazier, address OV2
OV2 is that's possession of
of a weapon.
a weapon. Yeah, we would object to that one, Your Honor. In this case, there was a raid on a house and there was a weapon found in the house somewhere. I did submit a letter, and it's not a proper affidavit from guy who says he knows who that gun belonged to. It was not found on my client or in his physical presence.
Was there in the police report a statement by the police officer saying he observed a weapon in his waistband?
Not on this event, Your Honor.
Not on this one, it was on a different one?
It was on a 2 weeks prior.
Do you want me to clarify?
Yes.
My understanding is during the events leading up to it, during these undercover buys, there was, the pistol was in his waistband on the actual date in question, that during the execution of the search warrant, it was found in his bed.
Your Honor, I just would indicate that I think it was found under a mattress. He disputes even that was his bed. But more importantly, Your Honor, there's nothing to show us the gun or it was used in this instance or he possessed it during this instance. And we think that should be 0.
Was found in the same bedroom that was believed to be Mr. Lycan's bedroom where this methamphetamine was found.
I'm gonna go get it.
And it's scored at 2 points, so,
Scored at 5 points.
okay, so what kind of, oh yeah, 5 points, and let's see here. So this is not the file where they observed it in this waistband, that's a different file.
No, it is this file. That was one of the charges that was dismissed as part of the plea.
Oh.
I don't believe so, Your Honor. It was a completely different date when they say.
Well, it was a different date, but it was all the same file. I mean, the buys were on different days.
And those buys aren't a part of this file.
He was charged with the delivery method of narcotics. That was one of the charges.
So
that was dismissed.
on this file, it's February 9th of 2023 is the date of incident.
Right.
That would have been the execution of the search warrant.
So if it's the execution of the search warrant, it would only be the items found in the house at the time.
But he was charged, hold on, I'm pulling up the information now, I'm sorry.
And that's why I'm saying, so it doesn't say between the period, like,
Yes, so he had two charges of delivery dismissed as part of the plea.
okay,
So we did put the date of offense as the execution of the search warrant, but he was charged with the deliveries from the previous dates. That should have been a date range, I guess, but he only pled to the possession, so we didn't bother changing it, but that was what his charges were.
Okay, so would you agree those deliveries?
I know there were some deliveries before that. I'm not sure they're part of that warrant or not. I didn't look at that. I assume all those charges arose from the search warrant. That was the first day he was arrested.
Well, they didn't arrest him for the delivery, so that was part of their investigation.
Right, but
He can be
usually,
charged
and
with
the
other.
reason I think it was just, it's confusing is because if he had pled to those, I would have needed the date of delivery.
I understand, but I dismissed him as part of the plea.
But the felony information isn't for that day.
Regardless, the possession of meth charge is, and that's what he pled to, and he was found with a weapon in his possession on that day during the execution of the search warrant. I just used the prior evidence of priors to show the court that it was, he also had a gun leading up to it, whether it was the same gun or not. The one they found at the same time in the meth was in his possession, and I don't know which one the affidavit is relating to,
That's.
but again, that goes to ownership, not possession.
Right.
And you don't dispute the police reports that a weapon was found in the home.
There was a weapon found in what they're saying is a bedroom. My client disputes that, says it wasn't his bedroom. It was found under a mattress and found in a dresser drawer.
And I
I guess
guess
the-
associated with that.
I guess the police report says it was found in the dresser drawer.
That was the narcotics. The gun was found in his bed, under the mattress.
Yeah, I thought that's what it was too, but there's nothing, he never said that was his room. He still disputes it wasn't him. We sent you a letter on whose gun it was.
Is it his home?
No,
You live there?
no,
We believe he did. I mean, obviously, that was the whole basis of our case, and he's pled guilty at this point, so we shouldn't adjudicate those facts, but
oh, he never pled guilty for being his home. In fact, the owner of the home, subsequent to all this, got busted for a whole bunch of drug charges. I think they're still pending.
there were items of his identity in that bedroom, Judge. And the buys leading up to it, he was in that home each time and represented to individuals that he was living there. I'll just say it's based on a preponderance, and I believe we have it at least by preponderance, but I
So-
don't make any other.
I think in light of the fact that the weapon was found in the home in a bed and there was information or items with his name in it, you're saying in that bedroom?
Like items of identification, anything that they would.
Was there
look
any
for.
items of
Yes,
identification of his? Like what?
yes.
I don't get the police reports, I don't know.
We can do an evidentiary hearing on it, but there was like some trash that had a letter with his name.
I'm going to,
Trash full.
okay, so I'm going to leave OV two scored at 5 points. I think in light of the fact that there was identifying information of his in that room and a gun was found in the room, I'm gonna allow it to be scored at 5 points. So, okay, so 23 dash, all right. But it would be scored 0 on 23-21611 FH. But obviously on 24-21736 FH, it's scored at
5.
5. Okay,
Yes. The only one it would be scored at 0 is 611.
all right. So then, okay, so, and then OB 15. Okay, are you making any argument on OB 15?
Yeah, we think it should be 0, I believe.
I made my argument in my memo, but it's essentially that People v. Jackson allows it to be scored if there's evidence of delivery of the drugs, and obviously there was evidence of delivery leading up to, that was the basis of the probable cause for the search warrant.
Our argument, Your Honor, is any evidence, there is no evidence. I mean, this court's not taking any evidence of prior deliveries or regardless, my client had, I can't remember, it was 0.04 grams, or it was
0.04 grams underneath my girlfriend.
underneath his girlfriend. So it's
Under his what?
underneath his girlfriend.
She used.
What, this was during the raid, nothing to indicate that it was gonna be delivered. All right.
All right, well, on OV 15, there were multiple controlled buys where the defendant sold undercover officers 4 grams and 3.9 grams of cocaine. This is a quantity under such circumstances could indicate trafficking under People v. Jackson, 497, Mish 857. And I don't find that OV 15 was scored properly at 5 points. So that means the OVs are 5, 10, so 10 points. So now we have PRVs of 22. Go to the right grid, D grid. So the OVs on this one, 22 over 10 would be 0 to 17. Right?
Yep.
Okay, so we got 0 to 17 on this one. And then on, that's on file number 23-21610 FH. And then we have 23-21611 FH. PRV one is scored. Did you?
We're not disputing those.
Okay, but there would be adjustment because PRV 6 should be 10 instead of 15, right?
And PRV 5 should be 2, and then PRV 7 would stay at 20, so that would put them total PRVs at 32.
Is it PRV 150?
No, it should be 0.
Okay. So that'll put our total PRVs at 30.
I have 32.
Okay, and then the OVs are scored at 0.
Yes.
So this is a G grid. So let me get there. So the PRVs are 32 and the OVs are 0. That's 0 to 11 months. All right. You got that? I know Ms. Holly's got to redo these, so stop me if I'm getting ahead of you, Joan. All right, so then we go on to file number 24
0 to 11.
to 24-21736 FH. So what are you saying?
So that, I think we're in agreement that PRVs should be PRV 5 at 2, PRV 6 at 10, PRV 7 at 20, and PRV 1 and 2 both at 0. So total PRVs would be 32.
Okay, and then OBs.
No changes to the OVs. That would put the guidelines at 2 to 17.
Thank you. All right. This has been the most conciliatory sentencing hearing I've ever had.
And that would be, I think, the same on the next one. It's the same file number, but a different charge.
Okay, so then on the assault, so the one we just talked about was on the count for possession less than 25, right? So then the police officer RNO would be PRV 10, PRV 2 would be 0,
Yes.
and then PRV 5, 2,
Yes.
and PRV 6, 10, and PRV 7, 20.
Yes.
So that takes it 20, 30, 32. And then the OBs are fine?
Yes, I think, so they're scored at 25 points, and that puts the range at 2 to 17.
All right, so PRV guide, or the guidelines would be that.
Ready for the credit? Ready for the credit?
Hold on a second. So Mr. Glazier, let me put it on the record. So Ms. Holly recalculated credit, and I think it's an initial 38 days or so. So Ms. Holly, what is credit on file number 23-21610 FH?
So it's total 250 from 2/6 to 8/1, 177, total 215,
15 or 50?
215.
Oh, I'm sorry. Okay.
Same as the next file. And then the 736 file, it's just 177.
Okay. Okay, Mr. Glazier,
Yes,
do you agree with that?
215 on the possession of meth, is that right?
Well, on 23-21610 FH, yes, that would be 215 days now.
Yeah, I agree with that.
And then 23-21611 would be the 215. But on the newest file, he doesn't have the credit like he did on those old files. Okay, so it's 177. Okay, so, Mr. Likens, you've had a chance to speak with your attorney, correct?
Yes, ma'am, there's a few things that I had, I wanted to talk to.
I can't hear you, speak
Yes,
up.
there's a few things I'd like to talk to him a little further about,
Well, we can't do that today, so you need more time?
No, ma'am, no.
I mean, I can give you time, it's fine.
Yeah, I think it's fine.
Well, real quickly, talk to him and we won't listen.
You do.
Why is that, was not a.
All right, Miss Farley, I'm gonna skip over to you while they're chatting, because I know Washtenaw is being kind and waiting for us. So Miss Farley, you're here on a motion affidavit and bench warrant, alleging you failed to appear for a show cause for a violation of probation back. Oh, you don't have this one?
I do not have that.
It's file number 20. Let me give you the file number so you can enter it. Just let me know when you're ready.
Okay. It's 20.
2020-19924 FH.
And her name is,
Kimberly Lorraine with 2 R's. Robinson is the file.
okay,
Okay, so Ms. Robinson, we are here today, like I said, on a show cause for failure to appear for a violation of probation hearing on November 1 of 2023. We did a request in summons for probation violation at that point, ordering you to appear. And the allegation is you failed to report to the probation department to sign your terms after you were sentenced, and you never showed up and you never paid anything towards fines and costs. So do you understand that's the allegation against you?
Yes, Your Honor.
Now, ma'am, you're currently on probation for, let me find you. You're currently on probation for assault with a dangerous weapon, which carries a maximum penalty of up to 4 years in prison if you plead guilty or found guilty. Do you understand that?
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay, what are you serving in Washtenaw County?
I'm right now, I'm released to rehab. I've been here 60 days.
All right, where are you going to rehab?
I'm going to a long-term, I'm sentenced to a years in rehab, up to a year in rehab, Don Farms, 90 days, and then transit housing.
Okay, all right,
After that.
so Ms. Robinson, you have a right to have an attorney represent you on this and all subsequent hearings. If you can't afford to hire one, we can appoint you one at public expense. Would you like an attorney appointed to represent you?
Yes, I guess.
Okay, that's fine. All right, when are they gonna transport you to Dawn Farms? As soon as we take care of this?
Yes,
Okay. Would they be able to bring you back on Zoom at 1:30?
today
Yeah,
I could ask.
because I have to find an attorney.
Okay, if I just go without, I can just go without an attorney.
So, okay, so ma'am, this is a misdemeanor. She must have,
Is
pled-
it a misdemeanor? Okay, yes.
she must have pled to a misdemeanor. You
Okay.
pled?
Down, Your Honor, it was a big stuttering mistake. You know, I don't want to be unaccountable. I was using.
Hold on a minute, just hold on a minute. So
Okay.
I have a probation violation that was signed by Michael McCarron. So Becky, this must be a misdemeanor? Yeah, she pled guilty to a 1-year misdemeanor and then a 93 assault battery, 93 days. Is that what you pled to? A misdemeanor 93-day assault battery?
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay, I'm gonna dismiss the violation of probation and revoke you unsuccessfully and give you credit for time served and let you go to rehab. I'm not gonna spend a whole lot of time befuddling this just for you to not be able to go to rehab. I'd rather you go to rehab. So, all right, so I'm going to revoke it. I'm gonna just revoke your probation, okay?
All right, thank you, sir. Time served.
Yep, just time. I'm not even taking a plea on you. I'm just revoking your probation and you, good luck, okay?
Thank you so much, Your Honor.
You're welcome.
Thank you.
Take advantage of it. It's a good program.
Yes, thank you.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye.
Becky, anything else I need to do?
Judge, I'll just do a judgment stating that.
Okay, thank you. All right, you're good, Miss Farley. Good luck.
Thank you so much.
Okay, so back to you guys. Sorry about that. So have you had time to talk to him now?
Yes, ma'am.
Are you satisfied with him as your attorney?
Yes, Your Honor.
Are you satisfied with his advice and representation?
Yes, very much so.
Okay, we've taken care of the guidelines. Do you wish to explain or challenge any information in the body of the report?
No, Your Honor.
All right, do you, Ms. McClure?
One of the things that was being argued in the sentencing memo was that it shouldn't list all of the charges that were either dismissed or expunged. I just want to make sure that we agree that those can stay in there because they do accurately reflect that they were either dismissed or expunged and they were not included in guidelines.
So even though he had expungements and all that, his record does reflect those arrests and expungements.
My position, Your Honor, is I don't think dismissed cases or expunged cases should be a part of a PSI.
Okay, so we've historically always had those listed. And that's been the process for the Michigan Department of Corrections. Obviously, we know what we're gonna do here today. And I don't have anything that indicates that we can't, so I'm gonna leave them in. So.
Otherwise, no, Your Honor, that was all I wanted to make sure we.
Anything
addressed
else,
on the
Mr.
record.
Glazier?
Just argument.
Okay, anything you want to say on behalf of the client for the, well, let's go to Ms. McClure first. Ms. McClure, anything you want to say on behalf of the people?
Just to reiterate kind of the ending here of my sentencing memo, obviously I'm not disputing that he was admitted into drug court. I understand that. I just would like to make a record that I think as part of the screening, the court can look at other information presented to the court, and I wanted to present to the court that other information, which I think the court had made a comment, and maybe Mr. Glazier did too, that they didn't know that this was more than a possession, that there was delivery involved. So I wanted to make sure that that was on record and that that should be considered in deciding his sentence. And I would just ask the court to sentence to a year in Lenawee County Jail in lieu of a recovery court, followed by probation term.
Anything you want to say on behalf of your client?
Yes, Your Honor, I would just indicate that my client spent 215 days. We'd ask you to sentence him on the meth file to 215 days. On the other 3 files, we'd ask you to just give him credit for time served. If you give him a year on those, he's in longer, but we would ask to do 215 days on the meth file. Whatever time he has on the other files, give him credit for time served. I guess as regards to the drug court, I've never had anybody ever object to somebody going into drug court.
They do on occasion.
I've never seen, never on any of mine, I guess. But you guys are in charge of that. You figure out what he needs. As soon you guys do a whole lot more research into it than either I do, because I do none, or than Ms. Muir does. I would expect, looking at these charges and the activities here, that my client has a drug problem. And he probably would benefit from drug court. And I guess I say, I'm just a little surprised to see anybody ever object to that. That's,
So I will put on the record, part of the objection is, my concern is the recovery of the people in my drug court program. Like, that is first and foremost my biggest concern. And I will tell you that we discuss, when we admit people into drug court, will this person trigger some of our people? And I think one of our members used to date.
Yes, Your Honor, and I give you my word.
I don't want, I'm not, that was yes or no.
Yes, ma'am.
I don't even want you talking to her as part of this program. You understand
Yes,
that?
ma'am. I'll-
But we looked at, we're federally funded. We have federal guidelines we follow. There is a screening process we follow. You are eligible. We don't look at whether I don't know you, so I'm not saying this, but we don't look at things like whether we like the person or not, or whatever. We look at, because we try to be very unbiased and we go through the screening process, you qualified. But if there's ever a moment we think you are trying to sell or trying to influence or causing problems, we look at the whole, not the individual. You could be removed from that program.
Yes, ma'am.
So there will be zero, what would be the word? Tolerance, thank you. Zero tolerance for any misbehavior. Got it?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so yes, so I will tell you, Mr. Glazier, we do address that. We do look at, the detriments and the benefits, and he qualifies. So, but we will watch him very closely, which we do anyway. So anything else, Mr. Glazier?
no,
All right, Mr. Lakins, anything you want to say on your own behalf?
Yes, ma'am. May I stand?
Yes, stand podium.
I would have stood there on my knees. and just shot.
That's okay.
I can't say.
You are much older than me, I understand.
I'm older than everybody except Brooks.
I don't think anybody's older than Brooks. No, you're not. That's women years. That's different. All right. All right, Mr. Lakins, is there anything you'd like to say on your own behalf?
Yes, ma'am. Well, it's been long. I've been waiting to say for a while. I guess I need to give you a little bit of background information. From the last time I was in jail was in 2009. It's been 14 years, and the way I stayed out of jail was I stayed sober. I took care. I have 5 beautiful children. I started a business. I built it from the ground up. Helped Michigan Rehabilitation Services, and I registered my DBA in 2010. Ben's Home Improvements. It's not improved unless it's been improved. I worked really, really hard. I had a failed relationship. It was toxic. She just finally got sober, and she's the mother was Roxanne Roses, and she celebrated 3 years of sobriety. We drank a lot together.
Mhm.
We couldn't get on the same page where we quit at the same time. I was a binge drinker. I worked my butt off in my business, take care of my kids. I coached football and basketball, assistant coach at the YMCA for 2 years, 2 teams each semester, or each season. Volunteered. I had 5 employees. I worked on houses. That was my passion. Hardwood floors, laminate floors, roofing, siding, plumbing, drywall, masonry, restoration, windows, doors, cabinets, everything. I had a dream. I had a dream. The failed relationship, I had custody. Ended up after the relationship, I had full custody of all my children. I worked my butt off, coach football, like 50 hours a week and 20 hours coaching. I worked myself to the bone. It was hard. I did it. We were a team. Me and my kids. I had a 6-bedroom house. My business was flourishing. Everything was great. Had 3 vehicles, and then my last, I remodeled Old St. John's School. I was alumnus at St. John's. I went to middle school. I was salutatorian in my 8th grade graduation. 25 years later, I remodeled the whole building on Center and Church Street, the whole building for Restore World Church. And inside and out with my 5 employees, as well as the Chit Chat Grill, which was on Center Street. But anyways, I don't know I'm getting off straight, but I redid all that, and I was first, and then came the quarantine. I struggled with that. My business was flourishing. At that time, I was traveling. I was going to Plainfield and Westmont and around Chicago area working on houses. I was in Ann Arbor, Belleville, everywhere. And at quarantine, I could do nothing. hands were tied, sitting in that, I was in that, I ended up giving my mom guardianship for my kids and started drinking again. And some of that, I was drinking a liter and a half of vodka a day. I lost my house, I lost the cars, I lost the kids, I lost everything. A year and a half after I started drinking that liter and a half a day, I tried to quit drinking cold turkey. The lady I used to pay to clean my house, she looked through the window and see me laying on the floor. She thought I was dead. I ended up having a seizure because I tried quitting drinking cold turkey. So that attempt to trying to almost killed me, and what I do, I made an excuse to start drinking again, kept drinking. I didn't have the ability to ask for help. I mean, I didn't have the willpower to ask for help. You know, I was so ashamed of myself. I stayed away from all the positive role models, all the people, the house that I worked at. I stopped working. I didn't want to ruin any future possibilities because of the current state, because of the state I was in, you know. My self-esteem was so small. I stayed away from my kids other than for sports and stuff like that. And I felt like I was ashamed of myself. I abandoned my poor babies, you know, when they were in my life. I sheltered them from everything, you know, abusive relationship for 14 years. You know, I sheltered them. I was their moral support. I was everything to them. And I turned my back on them with my mom, who takes care of my brother's got cerebral palsy and severe brain damage. But anyways, so I left, taking care of my mom, and it's the best thing possible, you know, because she does an awesome job. It's wearing her. She's 65 years old. So basically, I just couldn't do it myself. I ended up, I got immune to the alcohol pretty much. I was drinking so much. I started compensating with cocaine. I started using cocaine. I ended up, you know, because the way I felt about myself, I always hung around people that were less fortunate also, you know what I mean? And I mean, I've always been an advocate for sobriety, always, my whole life, you know. I just couldn't deal with life on life's terms when it came. So anyways, I mean, with that said, you know, I started dating, you know, I started dating. I tried to push her to do good and around me too, you know what I mean? We both drug each other down, toxic. And I know what you're saying, Your Honor, about bringing her. I don't want anything bad from her. She's doing awesome from what I hear. And that's
Great.
I am so proud of her. I'm so proud of her because I see her at the bottom. She's seen me at my bottom also, you know, and I want to get myself right. I just want my children to cry for me all the time. Football's getting ready to start in a couple weeks here. My son's playing high school football. My other son, I've always been there for their sports. My son was born with severe bilateral club feet. Now he's a football star. You know what I mean? He was in cast for his first year of life, went through 5 surgeries, you know, split. I mean, that's besides my, he's bragging a little bit, but anyway, so I'm just anxious to get on with my life. My mom has given me an opportunity to, she said she'd pay for me to get into an apartment. I'll pay her back, of course. You know, I don't want to take any more away from her than I have. She wouldn't do that if she didn't see that, you know, I'm trying to do good. I'm one of my past contacts for work. He owns 14 rental houses in Adrian. I've been with him from the beginning. I don't know if you got a chance to read the letter that he offered me a job. He's been holding it for a month now. He's going to start liquidating those properties, and he bought them when they were cheap, and now he's selling them. He rented them out, and I helped maintain them. So he offered me a job. He can't hold it any longer, he said, but he said if I get out, he's more than willing to help me. And so with my career choice, if I get out in the wintertime, that's kind of set up. I won't be able to support myself. You know, my 90% of my work is outside work. You know, I compensate the wintertime by you doing inside work, but I find those jobs up during the summertime. But that's how I stayed sober for 14 years, or not, I was sober for 14 years, but that's how I stayed on track without, I got in trouble one time. And, got driving no license on person. And, you know, that was the first time getting in trouble in over 11 years, you know, but anyways, John, with that said, I just I'm begging you to give me a chance. I won't impact anybody else's growth in society. I promise you that.
Okay, thank you.
Here you go.
All right, and Ms. Holly, this case will be assigned to Ms. Teskey, right?
Yes.
Okay, and she's out this week. Much deserved. She's at the conference, so, all right. Anything else?
Thank you.
Okay. In determining the appropriate sentence in all of these cases, the court has considered the seriousness of the offense, your history, the principle of proportionality, the statutory penalty, the cost of confinement, the sentencing guidelines, the report and recommendation of the probation department, as well as what has been said upon the record at this hearing, the criteria and reasons for the sentence are the nature and gravity of the offense, the discipline appropriate to its commission, deterrence against repetition by you and by others, and the protection of potential for reformation, vindication for law, and protection of society. So, Mr. Likens, this is a case that could have, but for the plea offer and the way that the case was handled, put you in prison for a long time. Do you understand that? Because if you had been convicted, those charges could have stacked and you would have gone to prison for a long time. I think Mr. Glazier and I are like some of the few older attorneys. I think I even represented you.
Yes, ma'am.
So, because I remember you were probably on my caseload when I became a judge, and I just remember I closed out your file. I remember doing that. So, you've had low points and you've had high points, and you're right. There are times that you have been at the top of your game, doing good things in the community and successful, and you definitely have hit rock bottom. And these offenses are serious. These are serious offenses. So it's a sentence of the court that on each file you will be placed on probation for a period of 3 years. On file number 23-21610FH, you'll be placed on, as I said, probation for a period of 3 years. Now, listen, I'm going to sentence you to 1 year in jail with credit for 215 days, but you are admitted to the recovery court program, and Ms. Teskey will be able to either put you in a program or defer the balance to, I don't want you getting out on the street and not being able to be fully admitted into the program right away. So Ms. Teskey will be able to defer that balance when she's able to get everything in place for you. She may want you to go to a rehab facility. She may want you immediately released to care. So we can release you at her request to programming, okay? And whether it's outpatient or inpatient, you can be released early from jail for those programs.
She's not around till next week.
She's back Monday. She's at our national conference.
Yeah, so I just want to know.
Yeah, it'll probably be next week before a decision's made. Do you understand?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. There's $750 in court costs, $450 court-appointed attorney fees, $130 crime victim rights fee, $68 in state costs. It's been a while, so I think there is a $60 DNA fee. There should be, is there restitution, buy money restitution or anything?
I don't believe so.
I
Okay,
don't have any, no.
so no restitution on that file. During the term of your probation, you are to obey and comply with all the terms of your probation. It's harder to be in recovery court than it is to just be on probation because we watch you. The first phase, the second phase, you are with us all the time. You're constantly being monitored, and that is your number one priority. It's not getting, like, we will help you get back to work, but recovery court comes first before your family, it comes before your job, everything else. You can't do anything without permission from Ms. Teskey, Ms. Rubley, or anybody else. You understand? Okay, because our first priority is your sobriety. All right. Not to use any controlled substances, and we don't allow marijuana use, so don't even ask. We don't allow any use of alcohol and any narcotic prescription drugs without permission from Ms. Teskey, and then comply with all the terms of the sobriety court program as well, for recovery court program as well. On file number, hold on. And I think, let's see, on that file, was only one.
I think you said the supervision phase, didn't you?
Oh, yeah, there's $30 per month supervision fee, 60 if we have to put you on a tether, all right? Okay. They might require an alcohol monitor for a while. You'll deal with it. And then on file number, okay, there's only one count on that file. All right, and then on file number 23-21611FH, I will give you credit for 215 days already served. Put you on probation for a period of 3 years. All the same terms and requirements for probation and to be in the sobriety court program. There is $130 crime victim rights fee. One count and $68 in state costs. Is that good on that file, Miss? Okay, and then we move on to file number 24-21736FH. There are 2 counts on that one, that's why. So I'm gonna give you credit for 177 days served in the jail. I'm going to place you on probation for 3 years. I'm going to order $130 crime victim rights fee, $68 in state costs per count, right?
Yep.
Yeah, times 2. And again, obey and comply with all the terms of probation as well as the recovery court program. Okay? Anything else I got to add, Miss Holly?
I don't think so.
All right.
Yeah, I just have one question. File number 3, you're sentencing them to 177 days with credit for time
Yeah.
served. 100.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
You got you credit.
Okay, so Mr. Likens, Ms. Teskey, Ms. Rubley, or someone will be getting a hold of you probably at the beginning of next week, maybe even at the end of this week. I don't know, probably not, it's Thursday. So you just wait for them and then they'll figure out what they're gonna do with you, okay? All right, my bailiff's gonna hand down to you your notice of right to appellate review. There's 3 files, so he has 3 sets of forms. He's gonna ask you to initial and date the top copy of each form. That comes back to me just to acknowledge you received your paperwork.
Okay.
The other copies are for you, and if you wish to appeal your sentence, you would fill out the information on the form and mail it to the address listed on the form within 42 days. Any questions?
Okay, thank you very
All
much.
right, Mr. Likens, it's a process. You got to submit to it. We will help you. Okay? And we'll figure out what we're going to do next week. Okay, when Ms. Teskey gets back. All right, so initial and date those for me. Mr. Fleur and Mr. Ranger, thank you for cooperation.
Sorry that we took so much of your time, I know.
Well, no, what happened was, they're short at the jail. So it was just, and that's okay.